Hello and welcome to Thread Sketching in Action number 43. I'm Deborah Wirsu. I can't really decide whether I should call this design bubble art or simply an example of bubble free motion stitching, as really, with the right background and thread selection, it could be developed into a wonderful piece of textile art. Or you could simply modify it to add filler to a larger art quilt or even a more traditional design. As you can see, the design begins by filling areas of the fabric with random circles that are not connected. The circles are not perfectly round, which was intentional on my part, as I really do like things to look organic and natural in a work like this. You can end up with a lot of little taggy thread ends that can be cut off later. Next begins the somewhat lengthy process of stitching all the tiny bubbles that make up the filler between the larger ones. Once again, these are random shapes and sizes, from small to extremely tiny. I'm afraid this section is rather repetitive to watch, so I've moved the tempo of the video along a bit here. What I do enjoy watching develop is the degrees of shading that build up simply from the proximity of various sizes of bubbles. And this shading is emphasised with the use of variegated thread, which can create some lovely areas of colour patterning. This particular spool of thread is quite pale without a lot of colour gradation, but if you used one with greater contrast, the results can be both interesting and striking. Once all the filler bubbles were complete, I stitched again over the large bubbles to give them greater definition. Bubble stitch, or pebble stitch as it's more commonly known, is such a simple and useful pattern. It can be applied in so many different ways to create varied effects. Thank you to all the people who have contacted me regarding my plans for this video series next year. I am working out my options at the moment and there may be some changes, but I certainly plan to keep them going in some way. In the meantime, please contact me if you have any questions or comments and visit my website at deborahwirsu.com for tips, tutorials and patterns.